total is no good.
Whether it's flashy classic hot rods, the sound of screeching tires peeling out the burnout box, or the roaring of engines echoing off the mountain. This is Morrison, Colorado's Whining Thunder Mountain.
My name is Dave Lowry. I'm from Castle Rock, Colorado. I am 39 years old and I have a 2015 Camaro Z28 that's wrapped like Ricky Bobby's Wonder Bread car from Talladega Nights. So doing the high school drags here. Grew up here, going to the drags and all that, and it's been a long time since I've done it. Life took over, kid, family, all that, and so, but growing up, it's just a lot of good memories of my dad coming up, working in the garage, and then coming up and testing it. So brings back a lot of childhood memories.
Racing at this 65-year-old track creates a rush that can't be beat.
It's both, it's everything. My kid's starting to get into racing a little bit, and I kind of hope that she takes on to it as well. So a little bit of everything. It's fun to get back and kind of feel like a kid again and racing, and also see my kids seeing it for the first time and enjoying and kind of taking it all in like I did the first time.
Most of the time, this need for speed passes down to the next generation. For Colorado car enthusiasts, nothing compares to Bandimere Speedway.
I think it's awesome. It's up against the mountain. It's central to the city. It's very easy for everyone to get to. It's just an amazing venue. They run it right. They do a great job here. Whether you're racing or participating, it's hard to complain while you're here.
Our last day at Bandimere for race week.
During Rocky Mountain Race Week, some out-of-state racers and car enthusiasts were able to take their last passes at the drag strip.
It's a bummer. There's a lot of history here, but I really hope that does work out and that we have somewhere to come back to. That's one of the sad things about seeing so many tracks close across the United States because of housing. The track was there first and the complaints come after, but I can only imagine what they will do starting from scratch. I mean, with all the killer ideas that they have here that they've implemented, and I'm sure they have 1,000 more that they haven't been able to, so I think that'll rock. It'll definitely be worth the trip.
Racing brings drag racers to the strip, but the family they build at the track keeps them coming back.
I would say for sure the friendships that I've grown out of them. Like I said, I've been doing them since 2009, and I have lifelong friendships, not only across the country, but with folks around the world because of it, because folks come in from everywhere to do these things. It's pretty amazing. When I was struggling in 21, I had a cheering section that was worldwide.
Into racing without needing to buy like an entire race operation.
It's really kept my family together. Our time spent together is racing, and I know a lot of these guys out here are the same way, but instead of, kids sitting around on the couch all the time watching video games, we were out racing and doing things.
Racers came as far as the east and west coast to say their last goodbyes to Thunder Mountain. And in 2023, on October 22nd, after 5 p.m., the Bandimere family locked the gate to the drag strip for the very last time.
Memories are also just experiences, right? And being able to do this with family and having had experiences with my grandfather, having experiences with my father, having experiences with my kids, those are all just really cool memories. So sometimes it's kind of hard to just go, okay, this is like the one and only coolest moment, because there's just so many fun opportunities. This year being the 65th anniversary and the last year here on the mountain, probably the most special time for me was making my last pass down the racetrack. That was a special moment, right? It's a lot of fun. I mean, going fast never gets old. And the competition is so much fun. Once you get into it and you really start to understand it, it's just super fun. And it's fun when you can race against other really good competitors. But it's also fun being a host. It's fun being able to welcome people and show them a good time and have fun. People come here because this is their hobby. This is their release, right? And so you want it to be fun. You want there to be a fun factor. I always tell people, when you're not having fun is when you need to stop, because it's too expensive. So you need to be having a good time. And so when you see people having a good time, or you see that person who maybe wins an event for the first time, that's super cool, because you know what that feels like and how exciting that is and how accomplishing and validating and all that can really be. So doing both is really a lot of fun.
86 on the 885 by 16 10,000ths of a second.
Bandimere Speedway's closure was a shock to many racing families.
It's like one of those things that you don't know what you have until it's gone, because I think I can speak for a lot of people around the racetrack when I say that, like, I imagined my whole life that was going to be there. And you don't think like resources like that going away, and the business needs and the changes in the community and stuff like that, it just wasn't something we ever thought of. I think we were spoiled for a really long time with having Bandimere literally in our backyard. It's 10 minutes from my parents' house. Throughout the United States, we had heard, tracks closing right and left, and we kind of always just thought, like, oh, it'll never happen to us. And there was rumors, years back that they had talked about building like a larger speedway out east and stuff like that. There was always chatter, and interestingly enough, the beginning of last year, that chatter kind of started to come back, and then this time it turned out that it was real. So, yeah, now here we are. Yeah, so the Halloween Spooktacular was an emotional race, to say the least. I think it was just like a different vibe throughout the entire day. You would talk to people that you were about to race, and you could just tell that they were, like so thankful and so grateful. And I can't even tell you how many people that I talked to that day that I hadn't talked to in years. And, you would line up to race someone, and they would say like, oh, it was so great getting to know you or watching you grow up. And stuff like that. So I think that race carried like a lot of weight. Honestly, yeah. Winning the last race at Bandimere ever would have been like the coolest thing to say that you did. But honestly, it was like the perfect send-off that you could have thought of. But I think, driving out of the track that day was weird, because it was this weird feeling of like, this is the perfect racetrack. Like, why would it close? That's such a bummer. So I think that was like a weird feeling leaving the racetrack that day. But the round that I lost, I actually, it's only technically a track record if you win. So obviously I did not win the round, but I was beat on the reaction time on the starting line. Our total packages were extremely close to each other. But I ran my number with a 0, which is what we call a track record. And I remember coming back to the pit, and my dad hugged me, and he's like, your last pass down the racetrack ever was like a track record. Like, that's so cool. And that was like the moment where I feel like it really hit me, and I saw my brother, and I was like, oh man, like, don't make me cry.
For racing families like Kaitlyn's, Bandimere Speedway was a home, not just a drag strip.
I have a picture of my dad holding me at the racetrack like less than a week after I was born. And my mom even talks about how she kind of like in her brain postponed me being born because there was a race that weekend. And the first thing that she told my dad was like, oh no, there's a race that weekend. Like I can't have her that day. I'm going to have her on Monday. And she basically willed that into existence because the big race that it was is Bracket Nationals. And that's a race that has continued on for my entire life. So the last 30 years. And I was born on that Monday, which ended up being Labor Day. So I really do hope that we end up in a community that needs Bandimere as a business, and I hope that it helps that community grow.
This facility's been here for 65 years. We think of that as a long time, right? That's nothing in comparison to eternity, you know? And so when we leave this world and the Lord takes us home, it gives you a different perspective of a long time. And this has just been really special ground, right? And it always will be. No matter what's here, it will be. But you just hope that there's always that legacy of what it was built on. We've been actually looking for almost close to 2 years for property. And same thing, it's like, okay, Lord, just open up the doors of opportunity at the right places at the right time that you see fit. You kind of know where our heart is and what we'd like, but we kind of want you to just open those opportunities up. And so we've found unique pieces of property. It's interesting. The women in our family have said, wherever we go, you have to see the mountains. And that does make a lot of sense. You know, first you're like, okay, whatever. And then you're like, well, yeah, we live in Colorado, and this has been Thunder Mountain, and so you're like, yeah, being able to see the mountains and have the mountain view, it definitely is a big part of that.
The Bandimere family hopes to reopen the track at a new location in 2025, but what they really miss is
just being back with our racing family. I mean, our racing family is just neat people. People have been racing for multiple decades. That's just cool, right? And it's like the father started, and then the son, and now the grandson. And this last year, we had a family that had 4 generations all racing at the same time. That's pretty rare. So just having them all back will be cool.